All right, guys. Welcome to the conference call. This is Steve, a.k.a. Steve Miles. Phone, I got Brad P. Brad, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome to the call. I understand you're out of town. Let me unmute the lines. And let me see where everybody's at.
All right.
Hey, guys, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it going, guys? Thanks for calling in. You guys familiar with Brad P. at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I am.
Okay. Well, then really no introduction. I want to remind you guys that I don't know if you guys are going to be around this weekend, but we do have the Ultimate Pickup Artist Convention this coming weekend, 13th and 14th. And
right.
we're offering discounts this weekend. If you go through our link at upuac.com/discount, you can get a 10% discount off. So I'm going to go kind of one by one. Whoever's in Aurora, Illinois, like you called him first. If you have a question. Brad, do you have anything you want to say real quick?
No, we could jump right in.
All right. So whoever's in Aurora, Illinois, if you got a question for Brad, go ahead and ask.
All right. I know that you have the cotton candy opener and the horse girl opener. You probably have a million others. Being that a lot of things are going direct these days, do you use just about anything, including direct, indirect, cotton candy, horse girl still? And do you typically think that during an interaction you should tell a girl that you like her? You think she's sexy, you think she's adorable, you think she looks nice, like at least during the interaction at some point, whether you start indirect, direct, that you say something like that.
All right, so for the first part of your question, a direct opener, I personally haven't had much success with, but I've seen it work for some people, guys who are good looking or have really good game. I've seen it work for them. If your game is awesome and your body language and your voice tone and all that stuff is awesome, it'll work because the girl probably already likes you. So, when the girl already likes you, the game ain't that hard. Anything will work as long as you don't come off, super weird or annoying to her. She's going to be interested. I've had a lot more success using scripted openers, like you said, because they're repeatable. You can tune them, do them over and over, get them really down, get them really dialed in, and you'll start to know the responses that the girls are going to give you before they actually even say anything. So, for example, if I do the horse girl opener on girl, she's going to, I know the same 3 or 4 things that a girl might say because I've done it hundreds of times. I suppose you could do that with a direct opener as well. What I only recommend it to guys who are really good looking, honestly. For guys who are average or below, I've seen them try it. I get a lot of guys that come to workshops who like the idea of direct game, and I realize it's a very appealing idea for men to say, well, I'm just going to say what I want and say how I feel. But the same thing always happens. Guy goes up, tells the girl, you're gorgeous, I just had to come to say hi. The girl smiles and loves it, and 10 seconds later she loses interest because there's no challenge there. So I think it's kind of a bit of a false positive because you do get that big smile and that really happy girl, but, making girls smile for 10 seconds isn't the goal. The goal is to get laid. So, when guys are in love with direct game, I will watch them a few times to see if it works. And if it works, I let them keep going. But 90% of the time, it doesn't work that good. And when we replace it with a script that's well thought out, it works like 10 times better. So for opening, I don't recommend showing too much interest because the girl will lump you in with all the other guys who are really, really interested in her. She's like, all right, this guy's going to tell me I'm attractive and then try to get in my pants. Seen it before, seen it a million times. And when it comes down to opening, you really want to give her something she hasn't heard before. And the reason why is because this is going to diffuse her autopilot scripts. that she uses to deflect guys. So, for example, a lot of girls have a little script that says, "We're lesbians, so don't hit on us." You know, so you guys might have heard that at some point. That's a default script that every girl knows, and it works great, and it gets rid of creepy guys, right? There's another one that says, "Oh, we've just haven't seen each other in a while. We're catching up tonight, so don't talk to us," right? So that's another default script. And when you go direct on a girl or you use something she's heard before, it's not just direct. It's basically anything that's predictable and she's heard before. So if you say to her, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" That's predictable. Or "Hey, I think you're really attractive. I just had to come say hi." Okay, she's heard that thousands of times. So she's going to go straight to her default defenses without even thinking. She's not going to give you a chance. She's going to, because she's lumping you in with guys who just don't have any creativity or anything unique to say. So she's going to say, "Oh, we're lesbians," or she's going to say, "Oh, we are, just catching up on old times." Okay, so the false positive comes into play as well because she gets real happy. And this is why it works for a lot of gurus and coaches. I mean, for gurus and coaches, their game's already really good. So direct can work for them. And students get excited to see that initial 10 seconds of happy girl, even if the coach isn't really getting laid much off the direct game. But like I said, it can work for guys who have a great game and are really good looking. Now, so let's forget openers for a second and address your other question. Your other question is, should you show interest or tell a girl you like her or tell her she's attractive during the interaction later? And I say maybe. Maybe. It can be a really good idea to do this, but it's got to be calibrated. When is it a good idea? When is it well calibrated? That is the question. Okay. Well, let me start by telling you when it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to show interest or tell a girl she's cute or she's attractive if she doesn't like you yet. If she doesn't like you yet and you say, "I think you're really cute and attractive," then you're going to create a dynamic where you like her more than she likes you, and that's bad because you get lumped in with guys who are chumps. She's like, "Oh, another chump who likes me too much. This is going to be a drag. Bad things are going to happen. He's going to be a stalker." And she flashes back to all her bad experiences. So when it is a good idea is if the girl already likes you and she's showing signs of interest. She may be touching you or complimenting you, and you think you have some attraction. In that case, it's a great idea to tell the girl you think she's attractive or you like her or whatever, any way you want to do it, because this validates her attraction to you. It makes her feel like she's on the right path. She likes someone and they like her back, and that's a great feeling. When you like someone and they start to like you back, that can be really good. Now, that is not the only way to play it. If a girl likes you, one way to play it is to tell her you like her also. That can work. Another way to play it is to play hard to get, throw mixed signals. You can tell her you think she's cute, but you think she's, you're kind of out of her league, so that's a mixed signal. 1 minute you think she's cute, the next minute you say you're a dork. That's another mixed signal. And mixed signals are the most effective, in my opinion, for, kind of getting those girls who are out of your league and girls who are hard to get and girls who have a lot of guys after them. Because, again, the I like you stuff, if it's consistent and never changes, it becomes predictable. And predictable is, in many cases, really, really bad. I don't know, girls just get bored, and that's just the way it is. When I started learning, I've been in the game 10 years, remember. I started learning this stuff in, 2003, 2004. And I'm still actively in the field even now. And when I was starting out, I wanted to tell girls I like them, and I wanted to tell them how I feel, and I wanted to tell them I think they're attractive. That was a really appealing idea to me. And I did it hundreds of times, and it didn't work for me. And I eventually tried all this other stuff, Cotton Candy and Horse Girl, and I learned a lot of stuff from naturals about throwing mixed signals and teasing more, and it worked better for me. And the conclusion that I drew from the whole experience is that the things that I wanted to work were not the things that works in reality. And that was hard for me to accept, and that's why I told hundreds of girls I thought they were pretty and suffered hundreds of blowouts consecutively off that you're pretty type stuff because I wanted it to work. So anybody who's listening, I mean, just because you want it to work doesn't mean it works. Just because you're in love with the idea of direct game doesn't mean it's the best idea for you. It's good for some people. It's good for coaches. It's good for good-looking guys, yeah. Is it good for you? I don't know. Is your game awesome? Are you super good-looking? If you're not, then you're probably not going to get a lot of results from it unless you pound away for years and years with it, and the rest of your game catches up and gets really good. So it's a very tricky thing because it's such a big false positive. When you've never had a girl really smile at you before from a cold approach, and now all of a sudden you're telling a girl you're pretty, and bam, you get that big smile. If you're not fucking her, it's not working. So if you can't fuck, maybe 3 girls out of 100 from it, it's not a good technique. That's kind of how I look at it. So that's all I got to say about that. So let's move on to the next question.
Well, that was about the greatest answer I could ever possibly get. I'm serious. I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
That's what we're here for, guys. All right. Let's get another question, then we'll come back to you. What about Columbia, South Carolina? You got a question for Brad?
Actually, I'm just on my lunch break. I'm just listening right now.
Okay. Back to the original guy. You got any other questions?
Yeah. If we were to break down the fun vibe, have you ever somehow sat back and said, like we want to fill up that cup all the way to make that number solid to continue the interaction with the girl later on. And someone explained to me that you really have to fill that cup up all the way with so much value that she really, really wants to see you again. If we were to say that, like, whether it be role playing, silly assignments, fun, making her laugh, all this kind of good stuff, how do you teach those things? Because I think that's probably what a lot of guys are lacking, how to fill that cup up with a lot of fun. Have you broken that down at all, or what's your thought on that?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal with that. All the techniques you mentioned, I think, are really good techniques. I think I usually start with, like, what's the intention behind those techniques? If you're going out, you should be amusing yourself first and foremost. Going out and meeting girls is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun for you. It's not supposed to be torture. It's not supposed to be trial by fire. And that's how some people view it. So I'll give you a few tips right now to make it more fun and to make it a little less of that trial by fire vibe. First off, you don't need every girl to like you. You don't need every guy to like you. You don't need every person to like you. The purpose of you going out is for you to have fun, and whatever other people's reactions may be, they're generally inconsequential except for the girls that like you and decide to have sex with you. Their opinion counts. Everybody else's opinion is worthless. So if you go out and you talk to 10 girls and one girl decides to suck your dick and 6 girls hate you, well, whose opinion should we be listening to? I say throw out the opinion of the 6 girls who hate you because they don't matter. You'll never see them again. Their opinion is pointless to ever even think about again. You should never think about those 6 people again, and you should never think about their opinion again. The girl who wants to suck your dick, her opinion matters. If she decides to swallow your load, that's an opinion you need to pay some attention to. So a lot of guys go out there and they think that they're supposed to get every person to like them because pickup is one big popularity contest, right? And we got to have super high value every second of every day. Well, the bottom line is it's about getting laid. And you're not going to fuck 10 girls a night. You might fuck 1. So going 1 for 10 is really the goal. And And if a few people don't like you along the way, you should forget it and you should ignore it. Because when you go out to meet girls, you're going to meet a lot of different kinds of people. You're going to meet really cool people. You're going to meet really fun people. You're going to meet some people who have problems or have damage of some sort. You're going to meet people who might be really drunk and dramatic. You might meet people who are maybe in some kind of personal crisis, and they're taking that out on you. You might meet some girls who are really nice and really cool. You might meet some girls who are mean-spirited. It's possible. They're out there. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. So you can't just let this mishmash of people and their mishmash of opinions be the ultimate vote on your self-worth. You can't measure your value as a human by the opinions of a bunch of random drunk people, some of whom are cool and some of whom are kind of jerks. So if you want to have fun, you want to, like you said, fill up that cup and have the girl have so much fun that she wants to see you again, it starts by you having fun and you ignoring negative opinions and only focusing on positive opinions, and to the point where you're having fun all night long. You're disregarding negative people, you're taking them out of your world, wiping them out, and you're spending your time with the people who are the most fun that you're meeting. So if you look at things that way, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to take those techniques and you're going to be able to use them. All those role plays, future adventure projections, all the ones you talked about, you can just go out and do them all night long. You might do 10 different role plays with 5 different girls, and that's going to allow you to get some forward momentum. Social momentum is something we talk about a lot. Me and some of my coaches who work with me, Fadeaway in particular, is really big on social momentum. The way he looks at it, if he's going to be out from 10:30 until 2 in the morning, the first 2 hours of the night are just a way to get into state and get into like the most highest, craziest state you can get into and the most fun time that you can have, so that by 1 a.m., between 1 and 2 a.m., when girls are thinking about going home with a guy and trying to make their plans for who they're going to bang, he's going to be in optimum state. And I think that's a great outlook on it, and it is really fun. Now, the alternative is actually really counterproductive. When you worry about who likes you and who doesn't, and if you piss someone off, you cry about it for the rest of the night, it sinks your state, and that gives you bad results. And once you start getting bad results, it sinks your state more, and it creates a negative cycle. And by 12:15, you're thinking about going home or changing venues. Okay, you gotta be kind of selfish with your emotions in the pickup world. These girls in the bars, they're all just toys for you to play with. They're not that important. You'll never see them again. They're not. Some people teach pickup, and the way they teach is like you must get the perfect 10. She's the most perfect being from another world that you've ever met. I don't think you should put anybody who you don't know well on a pedestal like that. These people are just temporary figures in your life that you get to toy with for a few hours while you try to get laid. And if you view it that way, you're going to have a lot more fun. And when you're having fun, the girl is having fun. And when you guys are having fun together, that's what solidifies some of those numbers. And actually, it sounds like what you're kind of getting at with this question is reduction of phone flaking. Am I right that you're concerned about that?
The fun question, you mean?
Yeah, you're getting flake outs, huh?
It really is. It's I would say that's
all right. So
right.
Tell me more about that issue that you're having.
Tell me. Well, it's just the flaking happens a lot to me, and what someone told me is, hey, maybe you're not approaching enough. You really have to approach more, get more girls in the mix, number one. And I started thinking it's more of a random thing, but the flaking thing, I guess, is one of those things that, is is sort of big, but I got a girl right outside here, so fuck.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you about flaking, and we'll have you not talk, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
So does that work for you?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so I think you're dead on. You know, flaking is like one of the real big problems in today's pickup universe, and it's getting worse. Like I said, I've been in the game 10 years, and I have to say I don't think that a lot of things have changed in my 10 years in the game. You know, the fashion of what's taught has changed. Different companies that are tastemakers go through different phases. You know, one day they're pushing directs game, then they're pushing scripts, then they're pushing natural. That stuff, that's just a matter of what's in fashion. You know, the girls haven't changed. But one thing has changed is the communication environment. And what I mean by that is, you know, when I first started learning in like 2003, not everybody had a cell phone back then. People were kind of getting them. A lot of people had them, but not everybody. I didn't even have one when I first started. I think I might have just got one. So cell phones came along, that changed things, because you don't have to call a girl's house, and if she lives with her mom and you got to leave a voicemail. I mean, that's changed. In the last few years, the big change has been texting has completely overtaken phone calls, and people don't talk on the phone anymore, they just text. So you can't really call a girl anymore. I mean, it's becoming almost unheard of. You pretty much have to do everything via text. So as a result of this, women are no longer afraid to give their phone number out like they used to be. 5-10 years ago, girls were hesitant to give their number out because they thought you'd call them all the time, it'd be bothering them. Now they'll just delete your text. They don't care. So women will give their phone numbers out really easy now. I mean, you don't even have to be that good to get a phone number. You could be, like, not great at the game at all. Go talk to 10 girls. You're probably going to get one. So the way girls see it is they're like, all right, yeah, I'll give you my phone number and I'll just flake later. Who cares? So the new system for phone gaming is basically take a lot of numbers and sort out what's real from what's fake. You have to be willing to spend some time on your follow-up just sorting out which girls are serious and which girls gave you their number and have no intention of ever meeting up with you. And guess what? Those girls who aren't serious, there is no text technique or magic message that you can send them that's going to suddenly make them get interested in you. They weren't interested when you met them. They're not going to get interested now. They're giving you their number just because they don't give a shit who texts them. They don't care anymore. Girls who have boyfriends will give out their number. Girls who are married will give out their number. Girls who are religious virgins will give out their number. Numbers are it's getting to the point where they're almost worthless, a lot of them. So here's what I kind of recommend. First of all, take lots of numbers, and go into it thinking it's going to work out. You know, if you meet a girl and you only got 3 minutes, take her number anyway. I've fucked girls off a 3-minute number close. It does happen. So yeah, take lots of them, and then sort them out. Try to figure out which girls are serious and which girls aren't. So I have 4 categories that I kind of put girls into, and I want you guys to use this as a framework. And if you want the whole lesson, it's in my text method. It's called Textual Chemistry, and it's on bradp.com. So here's your 4 categories. Girls who are interested and busy, girls who are interested and not busy. Then you got girls who are not that interested, they're on the fence, and they're busy. Girls who are not that interested and not busy. And then you got your girls who are just absolute 100% never going to happen because they just really, really don't text guys. They didn't like you enough even to text you back even once. I mean, there's literally nothing you could do. They have boyfriends, they have husbands, their vagina is sewn shut, whatever happens to be the case, it's just not going to happen. So out of those 4 categories, you want to start texting girls and start gathering logistical info and putting them in one of those categories and developing a plan of attack for each one of those. And what your plan of attack is depends on how many girls you're already banging and what you got going on. If you got no girls and you haven't had sex in 6 months, you're going to try to chase, every girl, obviously. Even girls who are not that interested and kind of busy, you're going to keep working on them because sometimes things change and they get interested due to circumstances in their life that might have nothing to do with you. So what I mean by that is, there's a certain amount of attraction that you can create via text game. And there's great scripted lines and game plans and techniques, and that stuff works. You can increase attraction, okay? But there's a certain percentage of the game that's out of your control. If you are texting a girl that has a boyfriend and she's lukewarm on you because she's thinking about cheating on him because they're about to kind of wrap things up, well, she's going to be, semi-responsive. She's not going to be super responsive. Then what's going to happen is the boyfriend, acts like a bitch and dumps her, and she wants to take revenge on him by fucking the next guy who crosses her path. She's going to become super responsive when that happens. Now, is that because of your great text game? No, not at all. It's because the circumstances of her life have changed. And that's why text game is so hard for people to learn. I think that what happens with guys who are beginners and, early intermediate is they think that we have the ultimate control over what girls will do, and what we text determines everything. And it is powerful and it is important, but it's not everything. A certain amount of the game is not under your control. It depends what her life circumstances are. If she's going to China on a 2-month vacation and her phone's off, there ain't nothing you can do about that. That's not your fault. So what can we do about this? What can we do about this part of the game that is completely out of our control? I don't like that any more than you guys do. I don't like having this whole thing be completely out of my control. Well, what you can do is you can stay persistent and hope that circumstances change. And if you stay on girls for a number of weeks, or in some cases even months, even with light texting, this happens all the time. One day they just kind of pop up and they're interested. And it's through no fault of your own. It's just that something has changed in their life. Another thing that can help is if you Facebook friend these girls, they might kind of watch your Facebook a while, and they might kind of slowly form an opinion of you, and then something changes in their life, and then bam. The nice thing about Facebook is it makes a girl feel like she already knows you just from looking at all the pictures and stuff. So it does some of the work for you kind of on autopilot, and that is a really cool thing, obviously. The changes in the communication environment have caused us to have to work harder on follow-up and texting, and it's a drag. But there are upsides to it, one being that Facebook does some of the work for you, and the other thing being that you can multi-text girls all day long. Or set aside an hour or two. Like I'll text girls from like noon to 1 p.m. sometimes. I'll be texting with like 8 to 12 girls for like an hour straight. And back in the phone call days, you couldn't be on the phone with 8 girls in an hour. It just wasn't working that way. These girls are replying back from work. Some girls will Facebook message you back and forth from work, even if they can't really have their phone in front of them. So you got to learn the changes in the communication environment and start to leverage them to make things easier on yourself. Because text game is a pain in the balls. There's no doubt about it. All right, so let me slow down a little bit and let you guys ask a few more questions. I've been yapping at you for a while here.
All right, I guess I think he might have gone out. That girl might have caught him on the phone or something. I think he might have dropped off.
Okay.
But see if anyone else has a question. If you got a question, go ahead and press *2 to raise your hand so I can unmute you. Press *2. All right, we got someone from, it's a guy from Columbia, South Carolina. Go ahead and ask your question.
All right. Hey, Brad, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
All right, perfect. I have a question. How do you become genuinely just you in everything that you do? Because I'm noticing as time goes on, I mean, I've read through No More Mr. Nice Guy like 2-3 different times, but over time, I'm still noticing that there's certain times where I'm still not being exactly who I want to be in certain situations. Like if somebody else has a stronger opinion, I won't say anything, and I'll just agree with them, and they can tell that it's almost like they can tell that I'm not really agreeing, but I'm just going along with what they're saying anyway. I'll give you a quick example. I work on like videography. Oh, go ahead. I work on like I work on like videography projects, and basically there's a project that I didn't necessarily want to do, but this particular person just keeps imposing his will on me and keeps saying, well, no, you need to do this because you have to do this, and we have to be great together, and we have to do this, we have to do that, and I'm not really down with the program. I can tell he knows that I'm not down with the program, but he's still kind of getting over on me by me pretty much allowing him to do that anyway, and I go ahead and do the project anyway, even when I don't want to. I'll give you one other quick example. My girlfriend that I've been on and off with for like 3 years, I know I'm getting really good with game, and I want to, I love my girl. I care about her so much, but at the same time, I want to be out in the field and I want to be approaching. And we go on and off breaks. She actually has a child, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for that type of responsibility. And every time I bring up we're gonna break up, we're not gonna be on a break. We're done. Give her a key back. She starts crying and kind of guilts me into getting back into that committed relationship that I said I didn't want in the beginning. And I know in the future I'm just gonna have resentment for her and blame her when it's not really her fault. It's just me not having the balls to just kind of impose my own will and stand by what I believe. So how do you actually overcome that?
I see what you're saying. It's kind of similar to the video situation.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I can definitely help you out with this, but let me give you one quick tip first. I just want you to be a little careful of how you're going at this problem. The way you initially phrased the question was like, how can I be more myself? And that's actually kind of dangerous area you're treading in because it opens you up to a world of very vague advice. People put on different faces, and the people with the best social skills are actually very strategic. They know when to be assertive and when to be cooperative, and trying to be, kind of consistently one exact same way all the time is not probably the answer you're looking for. What you're looking for in this case is you have an assertiveness issue. So this is not a be myself issue. This is assertiveness, okay? So let me teach you about some of the differences between assertiveness, aggressiveness, and being passive, okay? So right now, you're being a bit passive in these situations, and you're allowing other people to just, tell you what to do, and you're like, all right, fine. They just talk you into it. Maybe you feel a little bit manipulated, and we're going to do a little bit of assertiveness training here. So when you're assertive, you basically voice your opinions without being aggressive towards the other person or angry or mean to them, but you also don't really bend. You're not gonna change your mind or bend or be convinced in any way. All right, so I'll give you some examples of what assertive people say. Assertive people might say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. And then the other person will say, well, wait, because of this, and I want to convince you, and blah, blah, blah. And you say, whoop, hold up. I just told you I'm not interested, and now I don't really want to hear anymore about it. Okay, so you're basically correcting that person because the other person is not taking you seriously when you say that you're not interested, and they think they can just strong-arm you. And so you have to correct that person by saying, hey, I told you once I'm not interested, and that's the end of it. So it sounds like a lot of your issue is you're not willing to shut people down when they're trying to convince you. Okay? In some cases you might have to leave the situation. If you say, hey, I'm not doing it, no. And they say, but wait, let me tell you why you should do it. It's like, nope, not interested, don't want to hear it. And then they say, no, you're going to listen to me. Like, well, now you're being disrespectful. Maybe give me a call next week when you're feeling better. Okay? So if people disrespect you or they get upset, you leave the situation. Okay? You don't have to listen to anything you don't want to listen to. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And people kind of assume, well, I have to sit here and hear this person out. You don't have to hear anyone out. If you don't feel like it, you don't have to do it, okay? There may be consequences to that, but as long as you're willing to accept those consequences, there's really nothing wrong with it. I used to be a social worker before I was teaching this, and I had my boss. We worked in a youth center, and kids would come in and yell and scream. I mean, they were troubled kids, you know. They would quit the program, and they would yell at us and call us names and stuff. And also the teachers in the school we worked in had the same thing. They would come in and try to strong-arm us and boss us around. And my boss used to he'd hear people out a little, he'd smile, and he'd say, I'm sorry, but we're not going to do that. And then they would make their case 6 more times, and he would say stuff like, you just haven't convinced me. We can't do it. You know, and the guy just wouldn't bend. He was so nice. He would hear people out forever, but he would not budge. And he was nicer than you really have to be. So my next tip to you is to be more congruent in your decision-making. The reason you're susceptible to being persuaded and manipulated is because you're not 100% sure what you want to do. You just told me you love this girl, but you don't want to be with her anymore. Well, which is it, man? Get in or get out. If you don't want to be the baby daddy to this kid that's not yours, then get the fuck out and don't look back. If you don't want to do this guy's video projects anymore, just say, no, I'm not doing it. You know, you're not congruent in your decisions. And when you're not congruent and you don't know what you want, you become easy prey for manipulative people. And so I think that might be a lot of what's going on with you. Now, I don't recommend getting aggressive with people because it's usually not necessary. You don't have to yell at anyone. You don't have to scream at anyone. You can just stay calm and assertive. That's the whole thing. Isn't that what the dog whisperer says? I stay calm, assertive. I do not let the dog tell me what to do. It's actually a really good role model. You should check out an episode of the dog whisperer because he just does it his way and he doesn't budge, and that's the end of that. But he's very sure of what he's doing. And I mean, even talking to you for 2 minutes, I could tell that you're not stupid. These people aren't putting one over on you because you lack intelligence. The reason they were able to manipulate you is because you're just not quite certain what you're looking for. And you also might not see that it's acceptable to completely shut people down. It's totally acceptable to say, nope, not doing it. No thanks. Go ask someone else. Maybe I'll put you in touch with someone else if that'll help. Hey, if you want to help people, you can help people, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So does that make sense for the most part?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate that information.
Yeah, no problem. Let's delve a little more into the situation you got with this girl. So what do you want to do? You want to get in or you want to get out?
I mean, I would want to, of course, get out, but again, it's just the feelings that I have for her, and I've just over 3 years, I've just gotten really comfortable because, I mean, other than that, everything's been great. As far as her doing everything, that I ask, having my back in every situation, and having sex whenever I need, any of that. Cooking, all that is good, but it's just that
Is it just a field that makes you want to do something else? Are you just interested in what else is out there? And is that the main factor?
The main factor is I know that I haven't reached the level of game that I want to reach yet. And I know that getting into this relationship and just still not having the social skills that I want and the social skills that are pretty much being built up for me to even get this girl, I was using social skills and using game, and I was being more open, outgoing, everything was good, and then I got into this particular situation, it just kind of shut me down, whereas I can still attract women, but I'm definitely not approaching like I used to approach, and like my game is just almost like dwindling back down to when I was a beginner.
Sure. Any chance that she might be interested in an open relationship?
We've been going back and forth. I just gave her the monogamy option this past Valentine's Day. Like the whole 3-year relationship, it actually was open relationship. Not by her wanting that. I mean, she wanted monogamy from the very beginning, but she always would just make little threats saying, well, I'm not going to wait forever. And I would tell her, well, then fine, leave. We'll end this relationship. And then she'll just hit me up again, and then I'll just, of course, go back to her and say, all right, well, fine, we can work this out. And she'll say, I'd rather, even if you want an open relationship, I'd rather have you than not have you. And then eventually, after things are going good for a while, then she'll bring up the monogamy thing again. And it's like, oh, wow.
It's a bit adversarial, huh?
Yes.
Okay. You know what might be a good idea, and I don't know if this will help you with this particular girl, but it might help with future girls. There's some literature on open relationships that you could check out, and you could read it with your girl, and it might open her eyes to some things that might even be beneficial to her. I hang out with a lot of girls who are into, they're bisexual and they're what's called sex positive. I don't know. Have you ever heard that term, sex positive?
No, sir.
Sex positive is basically, it's kind of a new trend that girls are getting into where they just want to have sex and they don't want to feel guilty anymore, and they view sex as a positive thing. And they're into sex toys and group sex and bisexuality and hooking up with other girls, and they're just sick of it being a big hassle and negative and all that. So it's called sex positive. You might want to look into it. It's like a philosophy kind of. But they have a book that they talk about. It's called Opening Up, and it's about open relationships. And you and your girl might want to kind of like read that together and just explore it. You don't have to do, if you don't like it or she doesn't like it, you don't have to do it. But it might take a little bit of the adversarial tone out of your relationship, because right now you're in a situation where she's trying to trap you, you're trying to not get trapped. And that's a dynamic that is really common, actually, for a lot of people. So something like this might make it a little more cooperative and a little less adversarial. It might grow into something good for you, because it does sound like you got a good thing and you really like this girl. And, that's what it's all about. It's all about, the reason we do pick up is to find those girls that we're really interested in and we feel good with. So it's a valuable thing, and, you don't want to throw it away just because you're, like, curious what else is out there,
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on that anyway.
All right, great. That's some great stuff. I think we have one other question.
We're going to do like one more and wrap it up?
Yeah, we're going to do one more and then we're going to wrap it up, and I'll give you a chance to kind of tell everybody what you're going to talk about at the convention. So we got a Skype caller, Chara One Ampos. This is a Skype caller. Let me unmute you. Go ahead. You there?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
I'm calling from England. So I have a quick practical question. So, for example, I've come across situations where there's a girl in the elevator smiling or on a train, and you only have a few seconds or a few minutes to get some talking with her, and her floor comes up, she gets out, or her train stop comes and she gets out, and in the middle of while you're talking to her, and she just says, "I have to go." So my question is, what do you do? Do you have any practical tips for those situations?
Sure. So are you having trouble with the opening or with the keeping it going when she says she has to go?
Opening and being direct or semi-direct, because you don't have enough time to be indirect.
All right, well, first off, the first thing I can tell you is those short situations don't require you to go direct. You can do lots of other things as well. Direct is not your only option. That's kind of I don't know, it's a popular opinion, but I don't really agree myself. So I would like you to have maybe 2 scripted openers locked and loaded, ready to go, that you can deploy on any girl anytime, even in an elevator. So one of my favorite openers these days is what I call the new rule. So new rule goes like this. I'll say, hey, I got to tell you something. There's a new rule. There's no more girls in green shirts allowed on elevators. Apparently it's like some kind of new anti-terrorism law. I don't know much about it, but I just want to let you know because you can get a ticket, and it's like $80. So girls will typically get a real kick out of this, and it's really funny. And she hasn't heard it before, right? So you're not going to get the auto rejects that you would often get from going direct. They're going to be off balance. They're going to say, "Wait a minute, are you for real?" You know. And then I got a whole stack that goes with that. But then, like you said, the elevator goes to the 5th floor. That's her floor. She's got to get out. Okay. So the deal with this is, you have to be willing to break the rules a little bit and kind of break from social norms and fully commit to the fact that you're now trying to pick this girl up and fuck her. And you're 100% sold on that idea, okay? So if I got a girl giggling in an elevator and her floor comes, I'm going to step out of the elevator and I'm going to step out with her. And then if she starts walking, I'm going to say, "Stop. You're not going anywhere. I'm not done with you yet." And then I'm going to flirt with her a little more, and then I'm going to try to take her number when I'm ready to, okay? If you order a girl to stop what she's doing because you're not done flirting with her, many times they will comply. Not only will they comply, but they are interested and attracted because women just like being told what to do, and they like a dominant kind of guy. I'll give you some examples of this. I actually haven't done this in the elevator, to be honest with you, but I've done it in a lot of other situations where I'm breaking with the social norm and I'm saying to the girl kind of like, "Yeah, whatever you were doing, you're not doing that anymore," you know? So, for example, one time I was crossing a street and there was a red light, so this girl was stopped at a red light, and I just kind of waved at her and then went over and did my opener. And she said, "Well, I got to go. The light's green." I said, "Nope, stay right here. I'm not done with you yet." And I kept flirting with her, and eventually I actually jumped into her car and we drove away together.
I see.
I've been in a car myself in the passenger seat, and in a few instances, flirt with the girl in the next car at a red light, and I will actually get out of the car I'm in and get into her car. Now, I know this is not normal, and this requires you to break the rules, but when you want to be great at something, sometimes you got to break the rules. So if that means you have to get out of your car and get into her car, well, is that such a bad thing? No, it's not. She loves it. She thinks it's great. She thinks it's funny. And both those girls I'm telling you about, I fucked them both. And if I would have just played by the rules and said, "Oh, the light's red, okay, bye-bye," then would I have fucked those girls? No, I would not have. So, number 1, you're not limited to direct. Use a good script. Number 2, fully commit to the interaction, fully commit to the pickup. Be willing to break any rule. Now, I've failed with this many times too, but I don't care. I'll fail a million times. I literally don't care. One time I was riding the subway in New York, and I was with this guy. We kind of were having a meeting. He wanted some advice on a movie he was making about dating and pickup, and sitting there giving this guy a little bit of advice. And then I saw a girl. I approached her, and she got off at the next stop. I said to him, hey, come on, we got to go. Well, we weren't at our stop. I said to the guy, come on, follow me. And he followed me, and I walked with this girl all the way through the subway. I walked with her for about 2 more minutes, and then she said, get lost, I'm sick of you. So blowout. So then we had to get back on the train and actually go to our stop. But you know what? What did it cost me? 5 minutes of my time? And that's the way I do things. If I'm fully committed, I don't give up until it's truly, a no-go situation. So if you do that, you can get laid off elevators all day long, my man.
Okay, this is great information. Thanks.
All right, thank you. What was your name?
Yeah.
My name is Harry.
Thanks, man. Yep. All right, Brad, let's wrap it up. Just give everybody an idea what you're going to teach at the Ultimate Pickup Artist Convention next weekend.
Yeah, I'll be at the convention next weekend. I believe I'm speaking on Sunday, and I am going to talk to you about my experience with scripted material. It's got me laid many, many times, and I've had a good experience with it. So I'm going to share that experience with everyone and give you some of my best scripts. And I know, it's not trendy anymore, and everybody wants natural and direct these days, but I don't give a shit what the trends are. Getting laid is the only thing that matters. So I'm going to share my experience with that stuff with you guys, and I hope to see you there.
Great. Yeah, if you guys want to register, if you haven't registered already, go to upuac.com/discount. You can get a 10% discount off the admission. And that's good until, I think, Friday. All right, Brad, I want to thank you for calling in. This was great stuff, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I'll see you next weekend.
All right, guys, so I'll talk to you later. If you guys want to say goodbye, you guys are unmuted.
Goodbye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. No problem.
All right.
Take care.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.